Good evening. Investigators call it a national security incident. Two gunmen opening fire on the U.S. Consulate on University Avenue early this morning.
Tonight, investigators from Toronto Police to the RCMP are trying to determine not just who fired the shots, but why. CTV's Rahim Ladani is live tonight outside the Consulate with the latest on the investigation. Rahim.
Nathan, Michelle, good evening. In addition to Toronto Police and the RCMP, both CSIS and the FBI are also part of this investigation. Now, officials haven't yet confirmed a motive, but they're certainly looking into the possibility and even taking precautions which suggest this shooting could be linked to the violence in the Middle East. A heavy police presence outside the U.S. Consulate on University Avenue before sunrise. The front door of the building showing evidence of being shot at. Hanging inside, a portrait of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Whether it's a terrorist event or not, that'll be subject to the investigation that will be undertaken in the coming days and weeks.
The RCMP and federal agencies are working in tandem with Toronto Police, searching for this suspect vehicle, a white Honda CR-V. They say it stopped in front of the U.S. Consulate around 4:30 this morning.
Two individuals emerged from the vehicle, discharged at what appears to be a handgun at the front of the building, and then got back into their vehicle and drove southbound.
While people were inside the heavily fortified building, no injuries were reported, and it wasn't until an hour later an officer was flagged down in the area. The forensic identification team has been on scene for several hours. In fact, right now, team members are on a ladder photographing evidence which appears to be bullet holes which were shot at the front of the building.
When they did it at 5:30 in the morning, they knew they weren't going to jeopardize lives. But they're making an obvious statement here.
As investigators work to determine who is responsible for the shooting and their motive, Premier Doug Ford shared his personal opinion that the violence could be linked to terrorist sleeper cells.
I believe there's sleeper cells all over the world, as we know. They're in the U.S., they're in Canada here, and we have to weed these people out and hold them accountable.
The RCMP say they don't have information to provide on sleeper cells that may or may not exist in Canada. The violence comes during the ongoing conflict between the United States, Iran, and Israel. In Toronto last week, 3 synagogues were hit by gunfire, and Mayor Olivia Chow says anti-Semitic incidents spike when international tensions rise.
This cannot stand. Toronto's Jewish community has the right to practice their faith and culture.
Police stopped short of confirming a motive, but say there will be heightened security at the U.S. and Israeli embassies and consulate buildings in both Toronto and Ottawa. Now, officials say they have no evidence to suggest that there is an imminent threat to the public, but they are asking the public, anyone who was in this area around 4:30 in the morning and was driving, to please take a look at their dash cam video. Now, the U.S. Consulate is in front of University Avenue. The stretch between Dundas and Queen had been closed for most of the day. That now is reopened to the evening rush hour traffic. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said he is concerned about this morning's shooting as well as a spate of recent shootings involving synagogues around the GTA.
Extremely concerning. We convened the incident response group on the weekend because of the situation in Iran, but also to ensure that all forces and resources of the federal government are cooperating with local police and provincial police, obviously with respect to the shootings at the synagogues. I have had conversations with members of the Jewish community. We're coordinating, as you saw from the RCMP, deeming the shooting at the U.S. Consulate a national security incident, and we'll use the full weight of resources and ensure that the perpetrators feel the full weight of justice.
Still to come, after days of musing about the expansion of the island airport, the Premier now says he plans to take it over. We'll have his comments and reaction from city officials just ahead.
But first, a look at the forecast. There's a live shot of the city. Mild today, above seasonal. We even had some sunshine, but there is concern about rain on the way. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan. Once again, so much going on in the weather department. You know, we made it to a high of 19 degrees today, record-breaking warmth, and now we have a few showers making their way into the GTA. See this? The north end of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. That's some mixing and some snow. Communities east of there are under freezing rain warnings, so there's ice storm potential here as we make our way into tomorrow. There's the rainfall warning for us in the city of Toronto and throughout the GTA. GTA. 20 to 40 millimeters of rain going to be possible. We've seen an increase in cloud cover. The temperature is starting to fall. It's 11 degrees right now at Pearson. It's a little bit cooler for some lakeside communities in the single digits at this time. And the winds are coming from a different direction today, out of the north and gusting close to 40 kilometers per hour. Things really get going through the overnight hours tonight. Coming up, we'll talk about rain, thunderstorms, and eventually some snow in the long range. That's all ahead. For now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, there is more turbulence tonight surrounding the island airport as the Premier says the province is going to take over Toronto's role in it.
Calling it a crown jewel, Doug Ford says the province will expropriate Billy Bishop Airport to allow its expansion and the introduction of jets. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris is live tonight at Queen's Park. And Siobhan, the Premier is suggesting this is all part of a bigger plan.
It really is. He says it's important for the economy of the city and of the province, and it really fits in with the series of other announcements we've heard from the province over the last few weeks. The Premier calls it a crown jewel. He laid out a plan to polish up Toronto's Island Airport when the Mayor visited him at home this week.
I was very straightforward with her that we will be taking over the airport.
Not a negotiation, an expropriation of sorts. Ontario will push Toronto out of the three-way deal that governs the airport. The federal government and Toronto Port Authority also have a stake.
We're in an economic war right now with the U.S. We need every tool we can to create more opportunities.
For Doug Ford, that means jets at Billy Bishop, able to reach destinations like Vancouver and the Caribbean without having to go to Pearson. Don't expect a 747 touching down on the island, but Ford can't say where he'd draw the line on size and sound.
We have to consult again. We'll see the noise levels between the jets and the props, but I go back to this is going to be an economic driver. It'll create thousands of jobs.
While the Trudeau government shut down a pitch for jets on the island, yesterday the federal transport minister was non-committal.
I think it's incumbent on all of us, through the lens of this airport being a good neighbor and a good corporate citizen in this city, to look at what the future might hold in terms of its development.
One local MP says this is a nuanced conversation.
The issue isn't jets, frankly. The issue is making the best use possible out of this critically important asset on Toronto's waterfront.
The Premier is envisioning a totally different waterfront.
So wouldn't it be great if they just flew into Ontario? The island airport, got off and had transportation by a boat pulling into the convention center, the hotels.
Ford is considering filling in part of Lake Ontario to build a 2 million square foot convention center, putting it within reach of the new Ontario Place.
Enjoying the water slides or the amphitheater at night, or walking through the park.
Critics are dismissing it as more fantasy than plan. The Premier insists this is just about the airport, that he isn't looking at taking over other waterfront properties, including the exhibition grounds. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. There's also opposition to the Premier's plan at City Hall, where some councillors say they plan to fight what they believe is provincial overreach.
But like with other municipal-provincial battles, there is some question about how the city could prevail. CTV Sean Leithong is live tonight at City Hall with more. Sean.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, the councillors who are opposed to this say this isn't a debate about jets, but this is a debate about democracy and respecting the will of the citizens of Toronto. When word hit City Hall that Premier Doug Ford plans to have the province take Billy Bishop Airport, reaction is swift.
This isn't your toy box to play with, Doug. It's unacceptable, it's anti-democratic, and it's wrong.
If someone would just take away Premier Ford's pencil crayons and have him stop drawing all over the City of Toronto map and tell him to do his job, we could get even more done.
Before hearing the Premier's comments this morning, Mayor Chow was asked about the possibility of the province taking over the island airport.
They have the power to do so, and I have not seen any concrete plans. However, having said that, there's a master plan, and I welcome the province in participating.
After hearing the Premier speak, Councillor Gord Perks dismissing the Premier's grand vision for the waterfront as nonsensical.
Last week, he wanted to build a convention center out in the water. Well, frankly, if he tries to build the convention center, then the flight path for his island airport goes away.
And if it comes to a fight between the province and the city, we need only look to recent history with the Science Centre, Ontario Place, and the province cutting the number of council seats in half to see there isn't much that the city can do to stand in the way.
It's time to fight back. It's time to take a stand and tell Doug Ford that we're not going to accept bullies, that we're not going to accept city land being stolen from the people of Toronto.
I've always said that any decisions about the future of the island airport, of our waterfront, and our downtown communities has to be done openly and publicly through a transparent process. What the Premier has shared today is unacceptable.
And while they may not have any legal means, Councillor Matlow says the province taking over the airport undercuts democracy by cutting out the elected representatives at City Hall.
Doug Ford is telling the people of Toronto that elections don't matter. So Doug Ford can get in one of those planes and fly to wherever he wants to go. But stop abusing the people of Toronto and the city of Toronto.
So when asked what the city would do as an avenue to fight back, Councillor Matlow talked about reaching out to their federal partners and hoping that they could stop any takeover. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Still ahead, 8 vehicles set on fire inside a Scarborough tow yard. The surveillance video and why nearby auto shops are expressing concerns.
In York Region, police have released new video of a hit and run in Markham last month that critically injured a 19-year-old woman. The footage shows a 2016 to 2020 blue 4-door Honda Civic with winter tires striking the pedestrian. Police say the suspect then drove into oncoming traffic to go through a red light at Middlefield Road, turns northbound, and then can be seen driving erratically eastbound on Highglen Avenue. The crash happened February 19th around 3:45 p.m. Police say the pedestrian was located 50 meters east of the intersection after being hit and carried on the hood of the vehicle. She was taken to a trauma center where she remains in critical condition.
At the trial of Frank Stronach today, the defense called a series of witnesses. Among them, a former employee of the billionaire businessman, a police officer, a former boyfriend of one of the complainants, and Stronach's personal assistant from the early 1980s. That woman testified she checked on Stronach's harborfront condo almost weekly, despite no one living there, and claims there was no mirror on the ceiling of the bedroom. One of the complainants testified during her alleged sexual assault that she saw Stronach's back in a reflection of a mirror in the ceiling. Since the trial began, the Crown has cut down the number of charges it's proceeding with from 12 to 7, linked to 4 complainants. Stronach has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
York police have charged a 40-year-old man in a sexual assault investigation in Newmarket. Michael McAuliffe was arrested last week and is facing numerous charges, including sexual assault with a weapon and sexual assault causing bodily harm. Police say on February 28th, the victim reported attending the home of the accused and being sexually assaulted with a weapon. Investigators believe there may be more victims, and they are encouraging anyone with information to come forward. Police are investigating an arson at a Scarborough auto body shop after 8 vehicles were set on fire early this morning.
As CTV's Janice Golding reports, police are now searching for a suspect.
Bright orange flames can be seen engulfing vehicles behind a Scarborough auto body shop. 8 vehicles in total consumed by a fire police believe was deliberately set.
Very bad. Very bad. You know, these people, I don't know why they're doing like that. I don't understand.
It's my friend's shop, so I just came over here. So it shows like everybody was getting too much panic on that situation.
The manager of the Sub-Tamil Auto Repair Shop at Middlefield and Steele says Toronto Fire called her at 5:15 a.m. about 45 minutes after the blaze broke out.
Yeah, it's very shocked. Yeah. It's everything like a 2025 Civic, 22 Lexus, 22 Civic, so very expensive vehicles. Yeah.
Have you told your customers?
I don't know what to tell them.
The shop's manager says they've been in business for 15 years and they only moved to this location 2 weeks ago. And this is the first time they've been targeted. Witnesses tell CTV News surveillance video shows a man dumping an accelerant on a white van in the parking lot, which then spreads to adjacent vehicles.
I don't know what happened, what's going on.
By light of day, the extent of the damage is very clear. Charred metal, melted plastic, and broken glass.
It's so difficult for normal people to leave, right? So somebody's hard-earned money there, it's gone.
Imagine if my car was blown up last, what's going to happen, you know?
While police search for a suspect, workers at other area auto body shops expressed concern about a motive.
Kind of worried. Yeah, what can happen tomorrow? What can happen tonight?
The investigation continues. Janice Golding, CTV News.
Fire crews battled the two-alarm blaze at an abandoned house in the West End overnight. This was the scene on Albany Avenue near Davenport and Bathurst. Nobody was inside the home at the time. Toronto Fire says it took about an hour to get the flames under control, but the fire has since been knocked down. Crews remained on scene to monitor for hot spots.
Service on the new Finch West LRT will be ramped up to full operation as of this Sunday. The line will run until 1 in the morning. Now, it's moving to full operations following an initial soft opening in December that includes early nightly closures for maintenance. The TTC says trains will arrive every 6.5 minutes during the weekday morning and afternoon rush hours. Trains will arrive every 10 minutes at all other times. The change also means late evening replacement buses won't operate after 10 p.m. along the Finch West corridor.
A new survey finds Olivia Chow holds a commanding lead in the city's next mayoral race after John Tory confirmed he will not run. The new Liaison Strategies survey reveals a major shift in the city's political landscape. 44% of respondents say they would vote for Chow if she were to enter the race. That gives her an 18-point lead over Councillor Brad Bradford, who confirmed he will be running. Meanwhile, 16% say they'd cast a ballot for Michael Ford. Ford, a former city councillor and MPP and the nephew of Premier Doug Ford, recently said he's strongly considering a run for mayor. David Valentin with Liaison Strategies says despite Chow's lead, Bradford has also seen a bump in the numbers since Tory announced his decision.
Well, the mayor hasn't declared yet. She's got a double-digit lead over Councillor Bradford. And then we're seeing now more support, as John Tory has exited the race, as you mentioned, more support now for Olivia Chow, a little bit more, a lot more support for Brad Bradford. And then Michael Ford has mentioned he might be running, so we're finding some support for him as well. Almost 1 in 3 in Etobicoke, Heart of Ford Nation, saying they would vote for Michael Ford.
Chow is also up 3 points in mayoral approval, while 50% of Torontonians say the city is moving in the right direction.
Ontario's finance minister set to table the provincial budget March 26th. Peter Bethlenfall will be announcing the date at a speech to the Empire Club of Canada. He says the budget will focus on mitigating economic risks by spending on innovation, competitiveness, and infrastructure. He says the budget will take a balanced fiscal approach that supports public services and infrastructure while maintaining flexibility.
Ontario does not operate in isolation. Geopolitical forces that may have once felt distant now reach our doorstep. Trade pressures, supply chain disruptions, and shifting markets are sending unpredictable shocks throughout economies everywhere. You know, the world has changed, and Ontario must be ready for what change may bring, even if that means being prepared for tougher times.
MPPs have been on break from the legislature since December and are set to return to Queen's Park on March 23rd. To Washington next, where there are conflicting messages about when the war in Iran will end.
President Donald Trump warned Iran not to interfere with international oil shipments, now saying he expects the fighting to end very soon. With more, here's CTV's Joy Malbin.
The Pentagon with new video bombing Iran's missile launchers and destroying their ammunition stockpiles. A fresh round of attacks. The U.S. says it has hit more than 5,000 targets, including 50 vessels.
Today will be, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Iran is badly losing and there will be no let-up. This as the Trump administration is sending mixed messages when the conflict will end. The president suggested the war's goals were pretty much complete, telling Republicans,
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right?
Trading threats on social media, Trump told Fox News he's not happy with Iran's new supreme leader, a hardline cleric and son of the assassinated Ayatollah Khamenei, saying, I don't believe he can live in peace. Iran's security chief shot back, warning the U.S. president, be careful not to get eliminated yourself. This after Trump threatened to rain fire and fury on Iran, warning the regime against stopping the world's flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, now at a standstill and sending gas prices soaring. But the White House insists that won't last long.
U.S. military is drawing up additional options following the president's directive to continue keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. I will not broadcast what those options look like, but just know the president is not afraid to use them.
So when will it all end? The White House and Secretary of War both say that's up to President Trump to determine when Iran is no longer a direct threat to America. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
In addition to the 7 American military members killed in the war with Iran, the Pentagon has revealed new numbers on the U.S. troops who have been wounded. 140 soldiers have been injured since the massive U.S.-Israel combat operation began over a week ago. 8 service members have suffered severe injuries, while 108 have already returned to duty after treatment for minor injuries.
The conflict in the Middle East is also affecting the cost of fertilizer, which has Canadian farmers anxious as they prepare for planting in the spring.
We're sharpening our pencils, trying to find, cents per bushel or cents per acre, dollar per acre that we can try and make some revenue going forward as things get really, really tight.
About 1/3 of the world's fertilizer passes through the Strait of Hormuz, but few ships are still making that journey since the war broke out. Farmers are worried skyrocketing prices could increase costs and eat into their profit margins.
A notorious Canadian serial killer is dead. Corrections Canada says 78-year-old Alan Legier, known as the Monster of Miramichi, died in an Edmonton prison. In 1986, Legier was jailed after taking part in a home invasion where one of the victims died. However, he escaped custody from a Moncton hospital in 1989. In his 6 months on the loose, he sexually assaulted and killed 3 women, beat a Catholic priest to death, and took 3 people hostage. Once rearrested, he was convicted of 4 counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. No cause of Legier's death has been released, and there will be an internal review into the circumstances of his death.
If you thought you saw something strange in the sky, you're not alone. More than 1,000 UFO sightings were reported across Canada last year.
Look at it, it's behind the tree. What is that?
According to the 2025 annual Canadian UFO survey, the 1,052 UFO reports came from every province and territory. Most involved bright lights or unusual movement in the night sky. Experts say many are later identified as satellites, aircraft, or drones, but every year a small number of sightings remain unexplained. It's one of the leading causes of cancer death in both men and women in Canada. Coming up, the calls to lower the age for routine colorectal screening.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, if your car gets in an accident, you'll want it fixed. But now more insurance companies are writing off vehicles, even with minor damage. A woman whose car was in a hit and run is fighting to have her car repaired. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Well, what a day again. Places like Hamilton, Windsor, Vineland in the 20s this afternoon. We were very close to it as well here in Toronto. And now we are bracing for a significant amount of rain. And at this time of year, there is, of course, concern about melting and about localized flooding. Watch for some ponding in some low-level areas as we make our way through tomorrow. Coming up, we're going to talk about the risk of thunderstorms and some snow heading into the weekend when CTV News at 6 returns.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Today's vehicles are safer than ever before because they're loaded with new technology designed to keep you in your lane, control your speed, and prevent crashes.
But all these advances come at a price, and now more insurance companies are writing off vehicles even after they're in minor accidents. Here's Pat Foran with a Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. A woman left her car in a parking lot and was shocked when she came back and it was involved in a hit and run. The car received extensive damage, but she was still surprised when her insurance company refused to fix it and said it would be written off instead.
Honestly, this has been a real nightmare trying to get this car repaired.
Teresa Baton of Mississauga says she parked her BMW sedan in front of her bank, went in to do some business, and when she came out, it had been sideswiped by another vehicle.
I walked over to my car and I could not believe how much damage was done to the front driver's side fender.
The car is a 2011 BMW 328i with 213,000 kilometers. Despite being a bit older, Baton says she recently spent $10,000 on repairs on the car, and it was in excellent condition. That's why she was shocked to be told by her insurance company it was considered a total loss and would be written off.
The first thing they want to do is write off my car. And I said, no, that's unacceptable.
Baton says she was presented with a settlement offer of $8,900, which she refused. After more than 2 months of negotiations, she's holding firm she wants her car fixed.
If my car was completely damaged and not drivable, then yes, that would make sense. But the car starts and it drives.
The Automotive Industries Association of Canada recently told CTV News cars are being deemed a total loss more often due to expensive parts and delays to get them. Repairs have also increased in price, and so have rental car costs. Safety systems using cameras, radar, and sensors are also expensive to replace.
Total loss is typically just the most economical way to settle the claim. It's just a mathematical decision.
Baton is with TD Insurance. When we reached out to TD, a spokesperson said claims are assessed individually based on the details and terms of the policy. This matter has been resolved after working directly with our client. TD told Baton it would now repair her car instead of writing it off, which was great news for her.
Thank you, CTV. My car is getting repaired. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. So excited.
And if your car is written off and you're not happy with the offer, you can try to negotiate a higher price. You could also buy the car, but it may have a salvage title, meaning it would have to be repaired and inspected before being allowed back on the road. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, he predicted an early spring, but it turns out he won't be around to see it.
Just over a month after saying we see spring sooner rather than later, Wiarton Willie has died. Canada's most famous rodent prognosticator passed away peacefully in his sleep, according to local officials. The albino groundhog was the latest in a long line of groundhogs chosen to predict the end of winter. And the town's mayor says a search will now start for Willie's successor. He says Wiarton residents are grateful for the memories Willie created and the pride he brought to the town. Who knew? I didn't know it was the same prognosticator each. I thought they changed it up.
Well, they do when this happens.
Yeah,
well, I thought it was like every year was a new one. I didn't know it was the same one for you. Anyway, you learn something new every day.
I feel like in honor of Wiarton, it felt like spring today.
Yes. Yes, Willie may not have made it to real spring, but he made it to our early taste of the season. So we will remember Willie, and I think we're going to remember the temperatures that we had today, too. It was a mild one. We, in fact, broke a temperature record today before the morning was even finished. So I think many were out enjoying the conditions earlier today, and with good reason, because a change is coming for tonight. Let's take you to Nathan Phillips Square. This is what it looked like on the skating rink. Yeah, if you can call it that at this point. Look at that water sloshing around. A lot of melting has happened in recent days, not just with ice rinks, but of course with snowbanks out there too. So we're sort of fluctuating between two seasons right now, winter and spring. We certainly enjoyed some spring temperatures the last 2 days here. Now we're going to get some spring weather in the form of rain, and in some areas, freezing rain, a whole lot of it too. We are under a rainfall warning around the Greater Toronto area, including us here in the city, but it also extends back towards southwestern Ontario, northern shore of Lake Erie, in for a decent amount of rain tonight and tomorrow. And then there's the freezing rain and concerns about ice storm possibilities. We're already seeing some mixing, just starting to see a little bit of freezing rain develop over Georgian Bay there. We've got some scattered rain showers happening now across southern Ontario, all part of a big system that's going to give us this spring winter wallop. And then I'm just going to step aside so you can see what is waiting in the wings for Friday. We'll get to that part of your forecast in just a moment, but let's bring it back to the freezing rain part of the story. Anywhere from 5 to 15 millimeters of ice is expected to build up in some of those communities under the freezing rain warning. So that includes places like Bancroft, Ottawa, City of Montreal. This could end up being a significant ice storm with prolonged power outages. This is less of a concern around the GTA. Instead, we are looking at Rainfall, that comes with its own concerns. The ground is quite saturated from all the melting that we've had, but it is also still, believe it or not, partly frozen. So that causes the water that melts and falls to not have a lot of places to go. So localized spring flooding going to be possible the next couple of days here. We could get into some thunderstorms overnight tonight and waking up tomorrow morning. There's the widespread swath of freezing rain. And then we get a second pulse of moisture midday. So rain heavy at times, embedded storms. Looks like we're still going to be seeing some showers into the evening hours, but this is going to start to pull away that system. Behind it, gusty winds and maybe a changeover to some flurries with the temperature dipping below freezing once again. We are well above freezing right now. It is 10 degrees at Pearson Airport. We made it to a high just shy of 19 degrees, beating the record high for this day, 15.5. Tonight, we dropped to about +3 for a low, so still mild. And tomorrow is still technically a mild day, but with all that rain, the thunderstorms, and some fog as well, won't be quite as enjoyable anymore. Gusty winds too. Let's look ahead to Friday. Right now, it looks like periods of snow, and I'm also keeping my eye on Sunday for periods of snow or rain showers. That'll be a tricky day, but hey, look what's showing up in the 7-day forecast next Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day. I'll send it back to you, Nathan and Michelle.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. Alberta is known for its natural beauty, but an international earth artist recently visited the province to add his own touch.
As CTV's Nicole Weisberg reports, his art may have already disappeared, but it has left a lasting impression.
I could barely believe it when I stepped onto the ice. Methane bubbles layered and stacked like frozen breath.
A natural phenomenon in central Alberta made even more eye-catching. For earth artist David Popa, having Abraham Lake as a canvas is a dream.
It's stunning because it's, as you know, sort of a miracle of a location. You have the clarity, the deepness of the turquoise, unbelievable fracturing, cracks, and then, of course, these methane bubbles.
Popa spent 12 days in the Nordegg area mid-January, about a year after he was first contacted by Travel Alberta about partnering.
We're trying to do something different than just imagery, which is mountains and frozen lakes.
Different and difficult. Popa is used to creating art on ice in the Baltic Sea near his home in Finland. With this piece, he says there were moments he wasn't sure he could pull it off.
It was like 0 to 3 degrees. So it was either like windy and then my chalk or charcoal would freeze on the surface, then it would warm up because of the sun.
Popa also attempting a 2-day project in a location where the wind could easily sweep away his entire first day of work. Instead,
to be able to just pull off this piece in a perfect weather window with the sunset, like this can't be happening.
Popa's second piece in the region, in Klein Creek Canyon, lasted just 1 day. He uses only natural materials. Popa returned to Abraham Lake for the third, working from sunrise to sunset at about -15 degrees to finish.
These are the kind of adventures I live for.
The golden color between the faces inspired and sourced from a Nordegg pigment artist whose studio Popa visited just a few days prior.
It's not only the place, but it's also the people.
Travel Alberta's Instagram post about Popa's pieces is its top video with over 4 million views, helping accomplish its goal of exposing the province's lesser-known destinations to more of the world. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Also tonight, Toronto reports its first case of the new Mpox variant linked to travel. The warning from public health officials next.
Toronto Public Health has confirmed the first cases of a more transmissible Mpox variant in the city. TPH says they've actually identified 2 cases of Mpox clade 1b, both travel-related. Mpox has been active in Toronto since 2022, but the clade 1b strain has been associated with outbreaks in parts of Central and Eastern Africa and has been found in Europe in travel-related cases. Public health officials say the risk to the public remains low. However, they are encouraging gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men to get vaccinated if they haven't done so already.
There are calls to lower the age for routine colorectal screening in Canada. Colorectal Cancer Canada wants the country to commit to lowering the screening age to 45 for average-risk Canadians.
Over the last decade, more than 18,000 Canadians under the age of 50 have been diagnosed with the disease. These are people in the prime of their lives, raising families, building careers, and contributing to their communities. And far too often, their cancers are diagnosed too late because routine screening begins too late.
The organization says the change would reflect the rising rate of the disease among younger adults. After lung cancer, colorectal cancer is one of the leading causes of cancer death in both men and women in Canada, and it's rising in Canadians under the age of 50. It's a type of cancer, when caught early, is not only treatable, but curable. Colorectal Cancer Canada says modeling shows earlier screenings would save lives and reduce healthcare costs. To entertainment, and a family favorite is returning to the stage in Toronto just in time for March break.
And CTV's Pauline Chan tells us it's a new version of the classic tale, Pinocchio.
English choreographer Will Tuckett first created Pinocchio for the National Ballet of Canada 9 years ago, but the new version is a bit different, including 2 narrators.
Pinocchio is a very European story, and we thought, let's put its feet firmly in Canada.
In fact, the production starts out with lumberjacks.
Male and female, but they're very much lumberjacks. And we've got some beaver that appear in it, and we've got a moose who spends a bit too much time in the bar. But there's a moose there, we have a Mountie.
But the traditional characters are very much there. Pinocchio, Geppetto, and the Blue Fairy, being danced for the first time by new principal dancer Beck-Ann Sisk.
I see her as the magical thread that sort of connects the whole story together. She is Pinocchio's conscience at times, and then she's also just there to encourage him to be kind, brave, and honest.
Sisk says the dancing, special effects, and more make it a perfect introduction to ballet for youngsters.
Creative costumes, beautiful music. There's actors that speak on stage and sort of help narrate the whole story, so the kids are really going to understand what is happening.
What we tried to do was to make the Blue Fairy really the character of Jiminy Cricket.
There will even be an ASL interpreter at every performance.
And for families with special needs, there's an abbreviated performance of Act 2 in a relaxed setting on March 17th.
Pinocchio opens at the Four Seasons Performing Arts Centre on March 13th and runs through the 22nd. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
After the break, Hamilton Shea Gilgeous-Alexander joins NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain in the record books. The incredible scoring achievement coming up. A key player in the AI build-out reported earnings today. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more.
Oracle is a $430 billion company whose stock has plummeted over the past year. It needed some solid numbers, and it got them. Cloud revenue, key for the company. It came in at almost $9 billion U.S. for the latest quarter. That's up 44% from the same period last year. Investors are also focused on how much it's investing to build its AI infrastructure, since the company is taking on significant debt to do it. Oracle confirmed it's spending $50 billion U.S. for 2026. The price of oil dropped today on the U.S. president's prediction that the war on Iran will end soon. Oil spiked to close to $120 U.S. a barrel on Monday over supply concerns. It's been ping-ponging on every detail from the conflict, including a post from the U.S. Energy Secretary today saying the U.S. escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. That was later confirmed to be untrue. Ottawa will allow TikTok to carry on doing business in Canada as long as it enhances security. There have been concerns about Beijing accessing the personal data of Canadian users since ByteDance, the parent company, is Chinese. TikTok has agreed to a third party ensuring that doesn't happen. There are 16 million TikTok users in Canada. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down a fraction to 73.64. West Texas Intermediate down to 86.58. Western Canadian Select is up more than $3 to 77.18. And the TSX gained 81 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
With the FIFA World Cup just months away, the coach of the Canadian men's soccer team is preparing for the biggest challenge of his career. But today, Jesse Marsh is highlighting a very personal challenge. To mark the 5-year anniversary of his wife's breast cancer diagnosis, Marsh is lending his support to Soccer for Cancer, a new fundraising initiative. Teams across the country will be able to sign up online to hold their own fundraising tournament to benefit cancer research of their choosing.
Early treatment and identifying things before they become bigger issues. I think that's the part that we want to create energy around, right? We want people to be engaged in women's health. And so that's been a big part of it, is just now making sure that we create some initiatives that people are excited about, that people are attached to, that there's energy around everything that we're doing with Soccer for Cancer.
Kim Marsh is now cancer-free and fully recovered. She'll be cheering on her husband along with the rest of the country when the World Cup kicks off in June.
Canadian basketball superstar Shai Gilgeous-Alexander continues to shoot for the record books, making history again last night, and the Hamilton, Ontario native did it in heroic fashion.
There he is. SGA with 5. SGA step back 3. He's got it!
That clutch three with the clock ticking down buried the rival Denver Nuggets. SGA not only hit the game winner, but he tied NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain in the record books with his 126th straight game with at least 20 points, which is the longest streak in league history. As usual, the reigning MVP praised his teammates in victory.
We didn't really bring it tonight defensively, but we brought it offensively, and guys like J. Will, AJ, Isaiah Joe, J. Mac, like they brought it offensively.
Now with 51 wins and just 15 losses, the defending champion Thunder have the best record in the NBA.
The Raptors will be looking for back-to-back wins when they take on the Houston Rockets tonight.
RJ on fire!
Toronto's coming off a 122-92 win over the Dallas Mavericks Sunday. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for just after 8 in Houston.
The Maple Leafs looking to snap a 7-game losing streak when they face off with the Montreal Canadiens tonight.
Cycles it off Nylander, and here's Nylander with a break. And Michelli scores!
The team is coming off that 5-2 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning and is winless since the NHL's Olympic break. Puck drop for tonight's game coming your way just after 7 p.m. in Montreal.
And the Blue Jays squared off against the Atlanta Braves in spring training action today.
And Jose Suarez is in. The first pitch is hit high and deep off the bat of Riley Terrada. A Zokar back, and he'll run out of room.
The Jays were already up 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th when they added to their lead with a solo shot. Toronto would go on to go up 4-0 before hitting a 3-run shot in the 7th. That would be the final as the Blue Jays blanked the Braves 7-0. They'll play their next spring training game tomorrow against the Yankees.
And at the World Baseball Classic, Team Canada will be looking to bounce back tonight as it takes on Puerto Rico. The Canadians lost 4-3 to Panama on Sunday. They made 3 crucial errors in the 6th inning, were out hit 11-9 in the game, and left 10 runners stranded. Canada now sits in 3rd place in its pool with a record of 1-1. Tonight's game is set to get underway at 7.
Just ahead, naturally tall, sassy, and ready to meet the public just in time for March break. We visit the Toronto Zoo's new addition as officials look for input on her name.
Tonight, shots fired at the U.S. Consulate in Toronto.
A national security incident, and we'll use the full weight of resources.
Investigated as a national security incident and a search for a suspect vehicle. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
We got our first look today at the baby Maasai giraffe born in the city last month.
Now the Toronto Zoo is asking for your help in giving her a name. CTV Jessica Smith has the story.
Born at 6 feet 4 inches, the latest addition at the Toronto Zoo is already turning heads.
She's curious, she's sassy, she's independent. She actually has wandered off a little bit and really became incredibly comfortable in the space quite quickly.
After a 15-month-long pregnancy, Mastari, the Maasai giraffe, gave birth to a female calf February 22nd, standing up just 30 minutes after entering the world.
4 of our team went in, did a quick checkup on baby. Mom was okay-ish with it, and then we got them back together as quick as possible.
The birth especially poignant with the unexpected passing of Kiko, Mastari's partner, a few months ago. Still needing a name, zoo staff worked with the Kenyan Consulate on choosing 5 options, each paying respect to its East African heritage.
We have Binti, which means daughter, and that kind of recognizes Kiko, her dad. Imara, which means strong, firm, resilient. Nyota, which means star. Nima, which means grace, and Sana, which means beauty or art.
The zoo is asking for the public's input on what name suits the new edition with a contest on their website.
All of these, I think, really testaments to the majesty of giraffes, the reverence we have for them, and I'm just excited to see what our community chooses.
The contest is open until March 22nd.
The giraffe enclosure will open to zoo members on Wednesday and Thursday this week and to the public on Friday, just in time for March break. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
What do you think? Maybe Bindi? What do you think?
I like Amara. I don't know. We'll see what the public picks. Beautiful. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, now are we taking the turn?
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to be calling the weather gorgeous for the next couple of days. It's pretty cloudy out there. We're watching for some showers and some heavy rain tonight. Here's one more look at the satellite and radar. I'm also watching for the areas that might get some freezing rain tonight. That may be happening around Rosso and Orville at this hour. There is a freezing rain warning in place for much of Muskoka, extending east toward Ottawa and Montreal. Rainfall warning for us around the GTA. Tomorrow's temperature around +8. As far as a high is concerned, the next 3 days are going to be pretty active. Thursday is a bit cooler with the chance of flurries, but Friday morning we could get back into some measurable snow, and then it looks like we could be unsettled once again on Sunday with some mixing possible this time. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.